Hey, here we go. Check this out.
This is Whole Nother Level with Dwayne Lindo.
You know, frankly, I feel that we shouldn't even be talking about this. Simple as that.
Frank Mazzei.
Did they win the offseason in free agency? Yes. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Craig Cousin.
How can you not put Tom Brady number one on the Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks? Man, this guy's a legend. Rings speak.
And Eric Wilson.
I didn't know Eric was going to let you talk.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. I've seen enough Facebook posts to know that you're not a Giants fan. Let's go.
Hitman!
You've been very busy this week.
I'm still busy. I'm not done yet.
Seems like long weeks all the way around.
Yes. Well, except for the one and only. He's been like in the closet stewing right now. I know he's got a lot to say.
What's up with you in the closet? This is back-to-back shows now that you've been living in the closet.
I'm just saying. I know
the one and only is not in the closet.
Okay. All right.
Wow, that's
he has actually been studying a lot.
Craig has got a lot to say today in regards to one Mr. Tom Brady. We will get into that as well as the breakdown of the final team for our 8 weeks that we've been going on, the NFC North, the Packers, the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, and those Minnesota Vikings. But as always, we do this each and every Saturday from 1 to 3 right here on HNL3.com. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a new commercial going up for us, man. Big shout out to our man, the sports expert that he is, Dwayne Lindo, for doing that for us. Again, the Office Bar, 1989 Ringling Boulevard, Sarasota, Florida, August 20th. Come check out all the fellows from Whole Nother Level as we get you ready for the 2016-2017 NFL season. Gentlemen, I can't even begin to ask where to start except to say, do I let him loose in the boot to begin with today? I don't know if I should or not.
We can stew on that for a while.
Okay, all right. Then let's talk about some of the other things going on in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins sitting out.
D-Hop.
Yeah. Him and the Texans cannot seem to get it together or come on the same page, so he is not attending training camp. He is holding out. He's in the 4th year of his contract. What do we think about that situation? I mean, first and foremost, what's up?
I think timing's not that great, but I think that's great. He's looking at big time.
2 years left on his contract. This happens over and over again where the player does not honor the contract. But in his situation, being a top 5 receiver in the NFL, I mean, he is in my eyes, I kind of see this as a, if he got injured, they'd be like, peace. So if you can get it now, if your agent's up to par and he can get that done for you, why not? I mean, it can't hurt him.
Shouldn't he have done this a little bit earlier?
Absolutely, and my guess is that they've been trying to get something together in the offseason, but it hasn't come to fruition. So I'm assuming that hopefully that they can get together on the same page within the next week, because you don't really want to miss too much of training camp. This should have been done in OTAs or even before that.
And you got to look at the fact too that Houston needs all the help they can get. I mean, this is a season that they need to be on the winning side of. So I think DeAndre Hopkins knows this. So he's trying, and he's a great receiver. So he's trying to get as much money as he can.
I mean, especially with the fact that Brock Osweiler's starting there now, they need to get together in camp to get on the same page as a new quarterback-wide receiver combination.
Let me ask you guys.
Nothing more than just a distraction.
Okay. Let me ask you guys.
Right before everything starts.
Well, it's all about money. It's all about money, man.
Well,
That's what he's looking for.
I know, but being so selfish and wait till after the season's over.
Let me ask you guys a question. He wants top 5 receiver money. Is he worth it?
Yeah,
He is. He is.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
that's the reason why he's doing it.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, after his receiving yards last year, his touchdowns, what he showed on a basis week in and week out with the quarterback play that they had over there, we all know that was way below average. I think that he's on the same level right now going into the season as some of the top receivers, Des Bryant, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown. He's starting to be named in that conversation. So, like I said, if he can get the money, then go out and get it.
I put him at number 5 exactly.
Okay.
In the top, number
top
5
5
receiver in the league.
So you're just ranking him right now, huh?
Yeah,
Dwayne?
basically.
Okay, nice.
All right. So I just wanted to know, because that is one of the biggest things in the news going on right now.
I see Eric's over there taking notes for fantasy already. Is that okay?
I am.
Number 5 on the win strap board.
He already told me that he don't get any crazy.
I don't even want to talk about Craig's league because I'm supposed to be in that league, and all of a sudden I got booted out. I don't know. I mean,
You're not booted out. You're in it.
no, I'm in
you're
the lower tier
Oh,
league.
God.
I'm talking about the.
You didn't get
I'm talking
booted
about
out,
the big
though.
boy league.
Oh.
I don't know. Is this a race thing? I don't know what it is, man. I mean, come on.
Whoa.
I mean, I'm just trying to call it as I see it. I'm throwing it out there.
Eric is in it, although he might be still in the closet. He's in it.
Wayne, I didn't even get in.
Okay.
I was 1 day and $1 short.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Well, he
okay.
didn't even get into the small league
No.
because he was dragging his feet.
Okay. Well, we'll put out the race thing for
Contemplating
now,
about
but
this.
I'm kind of upset that I didn't make it, but that's another story. But I mean, I look forward to August 20th. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, we're going to be doing our first ever whole nother level fantasy draft. We're going to be doing our predictions for the year from start to finish. Who we think is going to make it? Start, sit, sleepers. I mean, it's going to be a great show, and I'm looking forward to it as well. I mean, there's a couple things we have left to do. I don't want to give away anything, but I kind of am working on something special for everybody who comes out and joins us. I don't want to get into it too much and ruin a surprise, but it's going to be a good time. And we might actually go longer than 2 hours. I really think with everything that we're going to be talking about, we might go a full 3-hour show.
Might we are.
Well, we probably are, but all right. So let me ask you guys another question. How do you feel about, and I need your guys' opinion because I have to be, I can't be objective about this. The Eagles signed a 1-year extension with Darren Sproles. So, I mean, my man's 33. The average running back age is 29. But this guy, as even the great L. Bushman said to me last night, is underutilized. So I want to get your guys' opinion. Is Darren Sproles, should he be the number 1 back in Philadelphia?
Yes and no. I think he should get the number 1 touches on that team because I think he makes the offense move. But he's not a back that has size that can handle a 3-down back type of load. That's why they have, hopefully, Ryan Matthews if he stays healthy. But we all know that he has health concerns there. But I think that he should absolutely be the 3rd down back. And I think he should be worked into the passing game as well and even the return game because he shows explosiveness and everything seems to trend positively when Darren Sproles is on the football field. I love the extension for the Eagles. I think that they had to do it. They made a good choice there. And I think that Chip Kelly actually underutilized him. Great words there. That's the words that I would use. And especially in Chip Kelly type of offense, in the past, you would think that's his perfect player. So it kind of baffles me that he was underutilized. But I think moving forward, Doug Peterson will find out a better way to use him.
Okay.
Gary, I would also say very underrated. Because he's a very unique player. Because, I mean, not only can you put him as a running back, you can also put him as a slot receiver as well, because he's a fast guy. And he was like this in New Orleans for the league.
Right.
So, coming into another team and kind of being the same ways, I'm really surprised he stuck with the Eagles this long.
Would you consider Sproles an East-West running back or no?
I would say yeah.
I mean, from what I saw from Darren Sproles, I mean, he's a pretty quick guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was able to, on the drop of a hat, just kind of move from from side to side and get into some holes there. And then obviously punt returns, great punt returner. But I say you give the guy a chance and at least let him start to see what he can do. I mean, he deserves it.
I get it. I mean, he's 33 and that's past the prime age for running backs nowadays. But I'm really surprised he hasn't gotten a long-term contract with the team because he's such a good player.
I mean, first off, San Diego Chargers should have never got rid of him because he was perfect for what they wanted to do and Philip Rivers wanted to do in San Diego. With that said, I'll take a page out of Mike Mayock's book. He has great hips. He's quicker than fast. That's what he always says about everybody in the draft. But no, he does. Like you said, he's an east-west type of runner. I think that they need that 1-2 punch along with Ryan Matthews, more south runner. And that should bode well in Philly if they can both stay healthy and find a way to get them the ball on a consistent basis.
Listen, I don't like to bring up old wounds, especially on a day when I know Craig is going to unload on the rest of the world. But, my favorite Darren Sproles play so far is the one that they actually cued the music of Mario from Super Mario Brothers 1 as he ran the ball from one end to the other on the Patriots. And it was that...
Great special teams played in New England that day.
But I mean, listen, last season he led the NFL in punt return yards and touchdowns in 2015. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does this year. like I said, I'm going to be try and be objective. I don't care. As long as he's playing for us, I'm happy because that little SOB, man, when he gets on the field, I get hyped just seeing him on there because I know something fitting to happen.
Well, let me ask you this, Eric. I mean, do you think he'll make a difference on this squad? Because personally, I mean, I'm not trying to put down Philadelphia in any way, shape, or form here.
Yes, you are.
But you're
no.
kind of trying to put it
No,
down.
I'm
As a
not.
Giant-
I'm not.
as a
I'm just-
Giants
I'm,
fan,
hey,
I
I'm being
expect
objective
this.
here, and I'm being real here.
Okay,
The,
all right.
the fact of the matter is, we kind of broke down that division a couple weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and frankly, I mean, I don't see Philadelphia doing a whole heck of a lot in this division. I mean, I'm one of the skeptics out there. You're optimistic about the season.
I'm optimistic every season.
Well, yeah, of course. But I mean, I'm not optimistic about the Philadelphia season. But with that being said, do you think that Sproles will make a difference on this squad?
Yes. He made a difference last year with a team that was in such disarray that people were excited and wanted Darren Sproles to get the ball more. Sam Bradford couldn't do anything. Mark Sanchez couldn't do anything. We got one of the two of them out the city of Philadelphia. Now we still have Sam Bradford. Listen, I would rather him take a page out of Marcus Mariota's book and say, listen, if I have to hand the ball off 30, 40 times and get us a victory, let's do it. At least you know the consistency that Darren Sproles brings to the table. He is an east-south back, but what he is he's elusive. And like L. Bushman said, you can put him in as a slot receiver. You can utilize him in more than one position. But from what I'm seeing, and from what I saw last season moving forward, as long as he stays healthy, Darren Sproles will be a very instrumental factor. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Right. That's
I'm
what I
sorry.
was saying.
I don't care. Come on with it then. Y'all gonna bring it. But
And a good fantasy tip. You can put him in
thank you.
Yes,
I
indeed.
appreciate that. All right.
Yes.
All right. So with that, gentlemen, let's see what else do I want to talk about here. Oh, Dolphins defensive end Dion Jordan conditionally reinstated by the NFL. Craig, I know your thing. You can care less about him.
Yes.
But I have to ask you,
Yes.
does this make, with Ndamukong Suh, does this make the Dolphin defense a little better than they were because of his conditional reinstatement?
Well, you had to ask Dion Jordan that. All the athleticism in the world coming out of Oregon. A surprise pick at number 3 from the Dolphins. Nobody really saw that coming. 2 or 3 actually that year. But nonetheless, he was either boom or bust potential, and he's been nothing but bust since. So hopefully he can get his act together, and it's really up to him, like I said, because putting him on that defensive line, all he has to do is beat one person. You have Cam Wake on that defensive line. You have Ndamukong Suh on that defensive line. You have other players that are actually really, really good. They got, I think, did they get rid of Jared Odrick, or is he still there? They have players in place
Right.
that can make plays in the defensive line. So I think he's going to be single covered every time if he decides he wants to get his act together and play. But it can only add depth to that defensive line. And if not, he's basically seeing his last chance in Miami because it's only a limited time before he's going to blow it again.
Okay. All
You
right.
know, and from what I hear too, his teammates are ready for him to come back, and Gase is happy that he's coming back too. So I mean, it's
Then they signed
happiness
Mario
on-
Williams too in the offseason, correct? Yeah. So they have a stud defensive line already, with or without him. So if he wants to get on board, good for him. If he doesn't, then bye. You know, if I was a Dolphins organization, he might be able to get something to trade, but it would probably be a late round pick at this point, 6th or 7th round. I don't see anybody giving up a lot for him.
Okay. Like I said, I was just curious. The gentleman you were asking about, what was his name again?
Odrick, I think he actually got traded.
Yeah.
So he plays maybe for.
Yeah, he's not there. I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But
Can't think
Audric-
right now.
You're right, but Audric is gone. So we shall see. I was just curious because it was a conditional reinstatement. Speaking of, and you know what? We're going to take a break and come right back because when we come back, I think I've let him stew long enough. I got a couple questions around Mr. Craig Cousin, New England Patriots. I got a couple questions I need to ask him. So with that, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into that and a whole lot more. Breaking down, of course, the NFC North. You are listening to us, Whole Nother Level, right here on HNL3.com. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level, right here on HNL3.com. Joined by the sports expert that he is, Dwayne Lindo, the great L. Bushman. And as I do each and every Saturday here on Whole Nother Level, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, and he's got a lot to say today, Craig Cousin.
So I guess I would start by saying, Bill Belichick, when questioned about Tom Brady, quarterback controversy, will there be one week 5? What was his answer?
He rolled his eyes.
Jesus Christ, exactly.
Wow.
So basically, Belichick has confirmed that Jesus Christ himself will be back in Week 5. Tom Brady. Anything there? No, nothing. Come on. So,
Really lame.
And
I mean,
you went there.
but come on. I mean, it's training camp right now. He's getting questions about whether Brady is going to be relegated to the backup position already in New England. He's obviously a future Hall of Fame quarterback, has the rings to talk. He had the best NFL season last year at the quarterback position outside of Cam Newton. His numbers aren't down at all. His arm doesn't look like it's getting weak at all. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous for that question to even be asked at this point. So I don't know if a Jets fan, a Miami fan, a Buffalo Bills fan, some kind of fan got in there and asked that question. I have no clue about how he was even able. Do they screen questions nowadays or no? Or you can just go up there and ask anything you want. Fireman Ed? Yeah.
Fireman Ed,
He
yeah,
might have
from the
changed his
Jets.
name to Ted because, he stopped doing that for a while.
Exactly.
Apparently. But it's just an idiotic question, to be honest with you. And obviously Belichick thought the same. That's why I think, Jesus, are we really doing this right now? Really? Third day of training camp and we're talking about Tom Brady getting benched already? Listen, Garoppolo's playing well so far in many camps, OTAs, and throughout the first couple of days of training camp. He's going to get the first team reps. He's going to be throwing the starters that he hasn't gotten a chance to throw to before in game. The Gronkowskis, the Edelmans, you got Martellus Bennett, Danny Amendola, Chris Hogan, things like that. So I expect him to do fairly well. I expect Garoppolo to at least go 2-2, maybe 3-1 if we can pull it out. The real test is going to be Week 1, on the road against an Arizona team that is just, chomping at the bit to get to an unproven quarterback. And am I excited about that game? Absolutely, I'm excited about it. Do I have a lot of faith that they'll pull that win out? We'll see.
It'll be a good game, actually.
I think it's going to be a pretty close game, but that's a tough game to pull out on the road Week 1 with an unexperienced quarterback. But, I'm curious to see what he's going to do in the preseason. I think he's going to get a lot of reps. The sky's the limit for him. And guess what? If he does well the first 4 games, he could be used as trade bait in the future. Who knows? We might be able to pick up another first-round pick for him going in. We lost the first-round pick this year due to Deflategate. So you never know what could happen. I mean, if he explodes, do I think Tom Brady's going to get benched? No. I don't even if he goes 4-0 and throws for 400 yards in every game, I don't see Tom Brady getting benched. I really don't.
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head because this is something, and I know Garoppolo knows this. He's finally getting a chance to showcase his skills. So he's on the main stage. He'll be playing the first 4 games. So he knows what's at stake. This is his career at stake here. These four games because obviously if he does a great job, like you mentioned, potential for him to get money and go to another team next year to start.
And he even said it. He came out and said that some players don't get an opportunity at all, and some players only get one opportunity, and this could be his one opportunity.
Exactly.
The thing is I don't think they're going to keep him on the roster if he balls out, just for the fact that if Brady has 3-4 more years in him, which I truly think he does because he's showing no signs of regression so far, Garoppolo's contract is going to be up, and I don't think New England's going to pay Garoppolo's starter money when they already have a starter for the next 3-4 years. So I'm hoping that, if he does ball out, then they can get a first. They draft him in the second, so I'm thinking they can get a first for him. That remains to be seen, but we've seen crazier things in the past. Obviously, Brady got a chance because Drew Bledsoe got injured, and nobody thought that was going to happen.
Right.
So, you never know what old Bill Belichick has up his sleeve. But
And didn't New England draft a quarterback the first 4 rounds, or am I incorrect?
yeah, we got Jacoby Brissett. So he's been playing. So they're definitely going to keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. But obviously he's a ways away from doing
Right.
Greg, I got one question to ask you.
Yeah.
I need to talk to you about this on a serious level. So
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard that for the first 4 games of this NFL regular season, Tom Brady is not allowed to be anywhere near the facility. He is not allowed to be in contact with his teammates. They can't even come to his house and have dinner the first 4 games of the regular season. Tom Brady is ostracized basically from his team. Meanwhile, Josh Gordon, who is now back with Cleveland, he's back, and he can pretty much do whatever he wants to do. So I need to hear from you on this because when I heard this, I got mad. Like, I was like, you have to be kidding me that a guy who spent 545 days proving that he was an innocent man exhausted every single possible opportunity to say, listen, if you are going to put me on trial, then I am going to take you to the woodshed because I know I'm innocent. And finally said, all right, you know what? Enough is enough. It's no longer about footballs. I love this game too much to continually have to deal with this, so I will sit the 4 games. But under those conditions, he can't have no contact whatsoever with his team. Meanwhile, a guy who, I'm not sure if this is his first offense, second offense, whatever it is with Josh Gordon, he's been reinstated. This is third offense. Okay. Right. He smoked weed. He smoked weed. He got reinstated and pretty much can have carte blanche with his team. So I have to hear from you on this one.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. It makes no sense. I don't know what the protocols, the rules, the regulations are in the rule book. That
it just seems to go all over the place.
And I've said this over and over again: the inconsistencies on penalties, on fines, on basically whatever on Roger Goodell's board, whatever he wants to do. And this is what it continually seems to be. It makes no sense to me that he can practice in training camp, he can play in the preseason games, but as soon as week 1 starts, I understand he can't play those games, but he can't even have any contact with teammates. That doesn't make any sense to me. But when Josh Gordon, he's suspended for 4 games, so he's allowed again to play in the preseason, to do training camp. He can still be at the facility. He can interact with his teammates, but he just can't play in the games. 2 different violations. I understand that, but where is the rule book? Where's the protocol in place that states, what these violations entail? I haven't seen it, and I just have seen inconsistency after inconsistency with the commissioner of the NFL in making decisions. I mean, like I said, obviously I don't understand it. He's been nothing but a stand-up guy on terms of off-the-field issues, none, his entire career. He has been an ambassador for the NFL his entire career. So to do something like this to somebody, yeah, I get it. He didn't win the battle. Whatever. I'm already over that. He has served in the 4-game suspension. But come on, the fact that he can't even call teammates or talk to teammates, it's ridiculous.
I mean, you're talking about, I guess it seems to me that someone who cheats or gambles, it seems to be almost like the worst offense in sports. I mean,
but it was never proven.
Well, still, I mean, it's never proven, but still, I mean.
So basically what you're telling me, Dwayne, is a man can smoke weed.
But that's the whole.
And a man can basically come into contact negatively with a woman.
That's what.
And get a 4-game suspension.
I was just going to say the
Okay.
same exact thing.
Go ahead.
You can almost do anything you want and possibly just get a slap on the wrist. Whereas if you cheat or if you gamble, and from what I hear too, I know like it might have been maybe 6 or 7 years ago, you and Factual Frank went to Orlando for a little sports event. And I can remember one of you guys telling me that, it might have been Factual Frank, where you talked to one baseball player, and I forgot the baseball player's
Yes.
name, where the ultimate sin in sports
Is gambling.
or
Yes.
cheating.
Yes.
So, you get back to this whole gambling or cheating, it's almost like taboo. Whereas you have another infraction, in this case, smoking weed,
Right.
slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way I look at it, from my perspective.
And you're absolutely right. And that's why I'm like, okay, when I saw this come down, and I was like, all right, fine, Brady is finally saying enough's enough. He realized, you know what, I'll sit the 4 games, whatever. Because what they need to realize is, and I continually say this over and over and over again, and let me reiterate, I am not a Patriots fan. But this has me so annoyed and so riled up that I'm like, you have to be kidding me, because all he did was just infuriate arguably one of the top 3 quarterbacks ever to play this game. And when it happens, because we all know it's going to happen, the Patriots are going to win another championship. Roger Goodell, you need to hear me. You better man up. You better walk that aisle with that trophy, and you better hand it to Robert Kraft to Bill Belichick, to Tom Brady, and to that organization. Because if you don't, I'm telling you, there will be no rock you can climb under where there will not be people waiting on you to be like, are you kidding me? You put him through all this. He came back and showed you up, and you can't be man enough to hand that organization that trophy? Bruh, we got a serious problem. At that point, I'd be calling for his resignation immediately.
The amount of bulletin board material that the Patriots are getting, and especially Tom Brady now, is out of this world. I mean, Max Kellerman, he's the new person on First Take. First off,
Yeah.
What a clown that guy is. He's saying Tom Brady's a bum and he's done after the end of the season. This is his last season. He legitimately said that.
Way to get ratings, man.
Wait.
Ratings, exactly.
Max Kellerman?
Isn't he the
He replaced Skip Bayless
I-
on
I-
First Take.
He's even
which
crazier than Skip.
he said Tom Brady is a bum.
So you saying he should just go back to commentating boxing?
I mean,
Well, he's a boxing guy, right?
Either that,
Yeah.
yeah. Either that, or he took one too many blows to the head. I mean,
All I know is Stephen A. sat there across from him in silence, just staring at him, and then he went off. But I mean, I'm not even gonna go off on that. The dude's just a clown. Come on.
So is he better or worse than Skip?
right now he's worse.
Way worse.
I actually want Skip.
Wow.
I'd rather have Kellerman go back to Michelle Vito,
Sports Nation.
Sports Nation. Just hang out.
Listen, I haven't watched First Take since Skip left. The only reason I knew that Stephen A. went off was because it came across my feed on Facebook that he went off on Tom Brady. He went off on Roger Goodell saying, who the hell is Roger Goodell that he won't allow Tom Brady to do this? And I looked because they did a wide shot. And Max Kellerman, I guess he darkened his hair because he used to be like almost like dirty blonde. He's now like, I don't know what he is, but
Well, here's the key question. Why is there a reason why Tom Brady only has 1 year left?
Oh, and he's saying that, there's going to be a huge drop-off. It's happening with all the greats. I understand what he's saying. He's like, it happened with Peyton Manning, but let's be honest. Peyton Manning had fusion surgery in his neck. Peyton Manning has always had a weak arm, honestly. He's been awesome as far as where he places the ball. But, I mean, there's been no regression seen.
Right.
Is what I'm saying. And he's saying that, basically Garoppolo is going to come in and do a decent amount of job. Brady's going to come back and basically suck it up. And that he's going to be a bum basically moving forward in his career. He has 1, maybe 2 years left.
You know what's the sad part about this is once the whole cheating thing and then how they're so critical of each other. This puts in the minds of the younger players coming out of the days. Hey, don't cheat, or I'll get the worst punishment ever. But if I slap somebody, if I smoke some weed, I'll get a slap.
The problem is it wasn't cheating. The thing is everybody tries to get a competitive advantage on the field, whether it be a stick-'em of in the old days, heating footballs on the heaters in the sideline to try to either gain air pressure or release air pressure. Everybody doctors up the footballs, and even in the Wells report, which nobody's talking about, it said it's more probable than not, which means they don't fucking know. Excuse my language. We never cussed on this show, but I had to.
Craig, I never used to be on the side of the Patriots when this first came out. I was like, oh, good, he's suspended. Because I'm not a huge Patriots fan. Now, how it's gotten to this point, and how ridiculous this whole thing is, it's like, I can't wait for the Patriots to lose Super Bowl because, we talked about this yesterday.
we did.
If Goodell he has to suck it up so much, he'll get an executive trophy. He won't even do it.
He won't do it.
He won't do it.
And I'm telling you, he doesn't do it, I'm telling you, there are going to be so many people who are going to be like, you coward. You I'm sorry, you're trifling. Because you put this man through all this, and he came back and proved to you that you can't beat him. You can try and beat everybody else, but when a man and I blame Roger Goodell for doing this. Roger Goodell created his own monster, okay? Roger Goodell created a league to where the face of the franchise, when you thought of the NFL, was one of two people, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. That's it. If you knew nothing about the NFL, he made these two guys super mega stars. He made these guys Hall of Famers. Now, granted, their overall athleticism was a very big contributing factor. However, putting these guys in the face of the entire population and saying to people, okay, Peyton Manning, you are the young guy from, your father, and now you, your brother, the Manning family is synonymous with the NFL. And then you have the ultimate comeback story. A guy who had to fight and claw and scratch his way to become Tom Brady. Has won 4 championships, has made a ton of money, has a beautiful wife. And oh, by the way, ask me, is the epitome of being a true role model for any kid who wants to be a quarterback in the NFL. So you did this, Roger Goodell. You created this. And now you gonna get mad? Look in the mirror, bruh. Because what's going to happen, and we all know it. We all can sit here and talk about it, but it is a fact. I can sit here and say to you every year, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Why? That's my team. Dwayne can say the same thing with the Giants. Evan can say the same thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Craig, the only Boston fan on this panel who can say it and it come to fruition because of one man, Tom Brady. Gentlemen, simple question. You got 2 minutes left in the game. You got no timeouts. You got to drive the ball 80 yards. Who do you want as your quarterback? Anybody say anybody other than Tom Brady? I swear to God, I'll smack you. Because it's the God's honest truth.
Well, you don't want me talking.
What, unless we're playing the Giants?
Well, we all know what Eli Manning can do in the last 2 minutes of a game. So let's throw that out right now.
Okay.
He can
But
get real
more
lucky.
times than not, I'm going to tell you right now, unless you're a Giants fan, 9 out of 10 people are going to say, I want Tom Brady.
Right, and I agree. And I do agree.
So, Roger Goodell has to man up. And I just don't see it happening. I see him finding another way to escape the inevitable from happening.
Well, it's so interesting now, too, because Tom Brady comes back in Week 5. Also, Josh Gordon comes back in Week 5. So they're playing each other. New England's playing the Browns. So it's going to be a huge storyline for both teams. And we'll see where either team is at that point. But I think it's going to be a very, very good game for Tom Brady. And I think, we'll see if Josh Gordon can come on fire, too, because, he hasn't played football in 2 years now. But when he left, he was electrifying. So I'm excited to see both players return in Week 5. And I think it's good for the NFL. I just don't like all the other BS that leads up to it. And all the, favoritism that some players get, some players don't. And all the inconsistencies that is Roger Goodell.
I agree. All right, we've exhausted this. I know we could talk forever and a day about it, but let's take a real quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the NFC North. You are listening to us, Whole Nother Level, right here on HNL3.com. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level, right here on HNL3.com. Before we break down the NFC North, as some of you may or may not know, for those of you who may have checked out our website, you've seen it. The great El Bush and myself, E-Dubs, had the honor and the opportunity to be media. Got press passes last night for the Tampa Bay Rays, New York Yankees game. Big shout out to Carly, is her name?
Carly Turner, yeah.
Carly Turner for hooking us up with that. But I can speak from experience, having been a part of media once before with the sport expert that he is, Dwayne Lindo, who went to Orlando Magic and stood as close to you, great El Bushman, as I was to Patrick Ewing. That was a great experience. And then we got to interview the coach and the players. So I kind of, that feeling, that positive enlightening, basically starting to turn a dream into a reality feeling came back to me. And there was even a moment where you and I were both on the field and we kind of just stopped and absorbed and embraced the moment of, doing what we love to do. This was awesome. So,
Yeah, I've been on the field but it's different when you're there doing something that you love to do. So when I was like, I take a moment. I think it's special because then you get to walk around the stadium, you get to go places that fans get to talk to the players like media gets to talk to them, ask those questions. It's really special.
yeah. We had the opportunity to actually, there was a pregame with the GM, Kevin Cash. We got to speak to him, speak to him. And then the postgame, we got to talk to him again, ask questions. And then it is actually up on our website right now, HNL3.com. The great El Bushman got to interview Jake Odorizzi after his win. And a solid game, really solid game last night. The Rays, they came out strong, putting up 5 runs in the first 5 innings. And, for a team that I'm sorry to say, is not going to make the postseason.
They actually, that was how they were supposed to look all season.
Yeah.
Was pitching, kept hitting, and
Yeah, they did.
so, and I know, Craig, you like to rag on the Rays, so yeah, they're in selling. They're not going anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean,
And the only reason why, rag on him is because Boston's down there.
yeah,
That's all
yeah,
I
of
hear.
course. I mean, you're talking to a Boston fan there, but I mean, the whole point is, they took a game away from the Yankees.
Yeah.
I mean, the point is trying to get out the cellar,
Yeah.
and they showed that they can do that. As much as I hated to see New York lose. Obviously, I'm a New York fan, but the point is, Eric is right. They're not going to make the playoffs. At this point, try to make it out the cellar and have the best season you can.
What I caught from this team has actually shown signs of life in the second half of the season. I mean, they looked terrible in the first half, but they actually look like now they're starting to have fun again. Now they're starting to play actual baseball. So, and I know the trade deadline's going to be Monday at 4 p.m. So a lot of the questions that a lot of the other reporters that were asking was the trade deadline. If you guys know, if you guys are affected it, if you guys know what. Honestly, and I told you this yesterday, I don't think they're going to make it. And they might make one. They might trade Steve Pierce away, but pitching-wise, there's no need to.
Right.
No need to.
Right. I mean, obviously, the reason why they're having this crappy of a season is obviously because of injuries.
And pitching.
So right. So I mean, it's just a matter of try to do the best you can, try to get out the cellar, and it seems like playing against New York, they played with a comfortability there. At this point, they have nothing to lose. So play with that same comfortability throughout the season and see where it takes you.
I found that funny when you said they got nothing to lose before they brought out A-Rod.
Yeah, I mean, seriously.
He's been sitting the past 6 games, and in
Right.
the ninth they bring him out. He had like a 2-out single, or 1-out single.
1-out single.
That was pretty much
It was like, but Dwayne, as a Yankees fan, you will appreciate this. Top of the ninth, already 1 out. A-Rod comes in and he pinch hitters. He's the pinch hitter, and there was like a tremendous booze.
Oh yeah.
I mean, but then all of a sudden, he jacks one, in between first and second, and you would have thought it was his first career hit. Every Yankee fan in there just erupted. He got on base. I mean, but I was like, really? Because I even tweeted last night. I'm like, top of the ninth, 1 out. Why do you bring in A-Rod?
Well, look, I
You
mean,
got nothing to lose.
yeah,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
look, I mean,
You got nothing
for
to
one,
lose.
the guy, I mean, yeah, you don't have anything to lose, but I mean, the guy's a draw too. I mean, I'm not saying that he was brought in because he's a draw, but people, you're going to get reaction from the crowd because he is a draw. Either you love the guy or you hate the guy, and people love to talk about A-Rod. So when A-Rod is up at the plate, obviously you're going to get some reaction from the crowd, whether it's negative or whether it's positive.
So Dwayne, is this A-Rod his last season? Also, Mark Teixeira batting 191 on the season.
Right,
you have to
right.
think about he's up there in age. A-Rod batting 210 on the season.
Right.
So both playing pretty awful baseball.
Look, Teixeira has had his trouble staying healthy the last 2-3 seasons. A-Rod is getting up there. I mean, look, New York as a whole they're getting older.
Yeah,
let's
it's
put
time
it that
to
way.
give
So
some of these younger guys a chance.
right, it's time to
trade.
dip into AAA, and I've heard Yankees fans day in and day out say the same thing. It's not going to hurt you to dip into AAA, from the minor leagues and see what you have. Well, we have some pretty good prospects, so go in there, bring some of these kids up. Obviously, because the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to see a different Yankee. You're not the Yankee team that you're seeing today. You're not going to see him in 2017, 2018. You're not going to see him.
And I think the one thing he still has one to play. 26 million contract. But Brian Cashman in his time for a boy, you can figure out, okay, are we going to eat the rest of that contract and release him, or are we going to let him play out the rest of his contract and then buy him? That's what they have to do.
Right.
Get the rest of that money, or are you going to?
I mean, at this point, you as Cashman, you got to say, okay, is this as much as a leader that we want to keep him on and kind of groom the young kids coming in? That's kind of the big question, I think, because he's not going to. I mean, he'll produce, but he's not going to produce as much as you.
I don't know
as
if
the
he's
old
the grooming type, though. He's not a Derek Jeter type of player that really you can look to. I feel like as a young guy to look up to. I mean, his history.
And you're not going to have a renaissance season like McPoppy did and Derek Jeter did.
Right. I mean, he's not. I mean, I agree with you. He's not the Derek Jeter type in terms of grooming young kids coming in. But I mean, he has to have some type of influence. And the key is it going to be a positive influence for kids coming into the system? And if you, as Cashman, if you feel that he has some kind of influence positively, then maybe you keep him in for some period of time. But if not,
I say if you're Cashman, fight the board.
and let him go.
Release him and just eat the rest of him.
Wow.
Because he's going to more hurt you.
No, I mean, I agree. I'm very curious. I wanted to talk about that and also talk to you gentlemen about just like I said, the overall experience for us was phenomenal. Actually, we had decided after, it's funny, we decided after the pregame interview that we said, okay, postgame we're going to divide and conquer. Evan, you take the Rays, I'll take the Yankees. And then after that win, I was like, yeah, let's look at it. I was so moved. I wanted to talk to these guys and talk to these players. I didn't get a chance to talk to Pierce, so I wanted to ask him about the
I don't think
hamstring.
he was in the locker room when we were down there.
I think he might have been,
He was probably still in the shower.
either that or I think he might have been in the training room, and
Probably still on the floor.
he may have been.
But hopefully it starts a relationship with the Rays that way next time. We all can go.
Right.
Team.
Yeah,
I like it.
it was a great experience.
I
All right.
got a quick question for you guys.
Sure.
Okay, I guess switching back to football. Nobody's really talked about the addition of Arian Foster down in Miami. I wanted to get your guys' take on it. If you think this is a good move in Miami. He's starting the season, well, not the season, but right now he's on the PUP, but is expected to be back and participate in training camp in the preseason. So what do you think this means for Miami? Anything, or what do you think this means for Arian Foster's career?
Well, I mean, you have Lamar Miller that's gone from Miami now, and he was supposed to be their leading guy, wasn't he? I mean, last year, but he didn't really produce anything. I don't know if the coach at the time didn't utilize Lamar Miller the way he should have been utilized. But obviously, he's gone from the team, so obviously you need someone to step up. So I mean, Arian Foster's time to shine. I mean, got hurt in Houston the first 3 games, I believe. The third game, fourth game, I believe, he was gone. I think he does a great job there, personally.
It comes with it's a risk reward because I mean he's still a relatively young guy. I mean he's 30, but he stays healthy. You can see the type of explosiveness that he had in Houston, but with the growing issues last year, I mean all you have in that backfield is JJ. That's all you got. Arian Foster. So it's a really high risk with him because of injuries. But if they got him what for pretty low.
That's
pretty
what I was
cheap.
saying. I guess from a financial standpoint, you can't go wrong.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. They got him for pretty cheap. I mean, for that offense, I mean, ultimately it falls on Ryan Tannehill because this is his year to put up a show.
I feel like if anybody has the pieces in place now to succeed, it is Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
Being that you have a proven receiver now,
Jarvis Landry.
in Jarvis Landry. You got Devontae Parker over there, which you drafted. So he's coming into his second year, should do real well. Jordan Cameron, I think, is going to have a bounce back here at the tight end position. You got Adam Gase in there now as your head coach, which worked really well with Jay Cutler. And now you're bringing in Arian Foster, which has done a really good job over his career catching the ball out of the backfield. I think that this is actually a really good move for Miami. And again, I think the AFC East is going to be really tough.
Are you fearful? I mean, think about it like this real quick before you say anything. So you talked about Arian Foster, and granted, he's starting the season on the PUP.
Not the season. Right now, he's starting on it, but they don't make that I guess sediment until closer to because we still have training camp and we have preseason. Right now, he's on it. If he does start on it, then he'll miss the first 6 games of the season. But right now, that's not set in stone.
And then the one thing that we haven't talked about, and we'll talk about it really quick before we get to the breakdown of the NFC North right here on Whole Nother Level. Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
The holdout is over.
Yep.
He got his $12 million for 1 year. So now
long enough.
I agree with you. But now what I'm saying to you is, okay, you got your money, you got your weapons. You need to, as Frank says, because Frank will always call him a mediocre quarterback.
Yeah.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is nothing more than a mediocre. Him and Alex Smith go hand in hand when it comes to the factual Frank. What I'm saying to Ryan Fitzpatrick is, you got your money, you need to get to the postseason. You need to get that monkey off your back. I don't care who you got to go through outside of your division. Because, quite honestly, I feel like they will go, in their division alone, I feel that they will go 3-3.
Okay.
The rest of the season, the Jets have one mission. You need to get to the postseason. Now, I don't think they're going to win the division. I can tell you right now, they're not going to win the division, based on what we talked about earlier in the previous segment with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. So now you have to get in at the wild card spot. 5 or 6. I don't care what your record is, needs to be, whatever it is, you need to make it happen. Because if you don't, all that holding out, all that sitting on the sideline waiting to get your money, you finally said, you held your breath long enough and almost turned damn near blue for the Jets organization to be like, okay, we're going to give you $12 million. You need to win. I don't want to hear no excuses about throwing 4 interceptions the last game against Buffalo and not being able to make it. The excuse and the talking is over. The Jets have one goal. Get the wild card seed and make your way to the postseason. I mean, that's what needs to happen. So my question, I know I'm in a roundabout way, Craig, is are you a little fearful? Not a lot, because we will always say with what has gone down with Brady, they're going to win the division. But are you fearful that the other teams in the AFC East are starting to make a little bit of headway to give you cause to pause when you play them any given Sunday?
Fearful, no. What I will say is the entire division is improving. And what I think that speaks volumes to is the coaching staffs that they have in place, especially with Adam Gase down in Miami. I really like Todd Bowles, and I think Rex Ryan does a above-average job at the head coach position. Now, when I look at the grand scheme of things, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the entire AFC pans out, because I think New England will win the division. But, you know, I have some other teams that are on the rise this year. We've talked about them in previous shows, the Jacksonville, the Oakland Raiders, and things like that. We don't know what kind of Baltimore Ravens team we're going to see this year, Cincinnati. But now I truly think that all 3 of these teams could be in possible contention for a wild card spot in the AFC. And I'm not just saying that just due to this Arian Foster signing in Miami. I think with and I know we've made predictions before, but I'm saying with that new head coach in there and he works very well, I think Miami lost a number of games last year by a field goal or less. I want to say something like 5 or 6.
Right.
So if they can turn those around, I mean, they might be in it. I love the addition of Matt Forte with New York. I think that's going to be a ground and pound first type team, but they still have Eric Decker, you still have Brandon Marshall on the outside, and with Fitzpatrick in there now, and yes, he's been basically a career backup, but he's coming off a good year, although the last game wasn't good. He has rapport with both those receivers. They wanted him back. They got him back. So now, can he grow from last season, or will he revert to the same mold that he has always been? And I think that's the question that most of us have. If he plays up to his potential or even exceeds it from last year, the Jets are a playoff team. They got Muhammad Wilkerson locked in. They have Sheldon Richardson. Their defensive line might be the best defensive line in the NFL. They still have Darrelle Revis. Their defense is going to be good. They have pieces on offense. I mean, I don't see a weak point right now. The weak point was the quarterback position. Maybe a little bit on the offensive line. But other than that, they have all the makings of a playoff team. And then Buffalo, you know, we'll see what happens with that team, but they've improved on defense. They got some pieces in place as well. So I think that all of those teams have a chance. I'm not saying they will, but I think they have a chance, you know, to make a playoff run.
Okay, and of course, it's barring injury. We shall see what happens. All right, gentlemen, with that, let's get it into. This is the last of the 8 divisions. We are breaking down the NFC North. Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, and the bad man that he is, Aaron Rodgers, and them Green Bay Packers. And let's start there because, Craig, I just want to remind you, you have Green Bay losing week 1 to Jacksonville in Jacksonville. So before you break down your Green Bay Packers, I just wanted to remind you of that, my brother. And I actually sided with you on that one when I was going on my picks. That was the first thing I thought of. So I'll ride with you on that bold prediction that week 1, Green Bay loses to Jacksonville. With that, I'm going to defer to the great L. Bushman and say, give me your breakdown.
I was actually on the fence with that. But I sided with the gunslinger himself. I've always liked the Packers. Their offense was really a champion last year. With Cobb, Big River, the shoulder, Jordy Nelson going have him back with Stephen Head. Eddie Lacy has dropped 100 pounds, so he's actually lighter on his feet this year. I know they made a focus on the secondary defense. I have them going 13-3.
Wow, that's huge. 13. Wow.
I mean, from last year, I mean, they were 12-0. So,
Okay. Dwayne?
You know, I have a pretty similar outcome. You know, I have them, you know, you talk about the Jaguars playing in Jacksonville. I have them beating them in Jacksonville, you know, going and even traveling to Minnesota, beating the Vikings, beating the Lions at home as well. Their first loss I have is not because I'm a Giants fan, but I you know, I don't see them beating the Giants, even though it's in Green Bay. I mean, Giants are a great road team. No, I mean, they've been a great road team for the past 3 or 4 years. So I mean, you got to think about that. But I had them losing a couple divisional games. I had them going 12-4 for the season.
12-4. So we got a 13-3. We got a 12-4. Correct?
That's actually, I started out at 13-3 and I changed to 12-4 only because I think that the Detroit Lions will beat them in the last week of the season. Because they will be resting players.
Yes, I thought the same.
I had to get
exact
Detroit
thing.
another win because
I don't know, Craig. With that team, I think the second
second
Packers can beat the Lions. I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
But I do. You're right, Eric. I do have them. Actually, have them starting out the season 0-2. The Green Bay Packers.
Wow.
I had them losing to Jacksonville, and then I had them going on the road to Minnesota, and I think Minnesota's going to be an improved team, and I had them losing to the Vikings, and then I had them ripping off, I think, 8 or 9 in a row, and then losing finally to the Texans in week 13, and then I have them resting players the final week. So I have them finishing 12-4, which is good enough in this division, and probably in most divisions, to be the number 1 seed. I think that they win the division at 12-4.
Wow. Well, all right. We got a 13-3. We got 2 12-4s. I got them at 11-5. I do. I have them losing at Jacksonville week 1, and then I have them going on a 7-game win streak, and then losing at Tennessee to the Titans.
Wow.
I have them beating. Yeah, I know. Bold prediction, but I just really think
why do you
that.
see that? You see that they kind of just take that game for granted?
I think so because, you know, you're playing with a bunch of new variables in Tennessee. Marcus Mariota in his second year. DeMarco Murray coming over to Philadelphia. They just signed Andre Johnson, thank you, and they got him relatively cheap as well.
Good
So
for them.
it's still putting pieces in place. I don't know how solid these guys are going to be. I think Green Bay may roll in there with a huge, huge ego and then have it knocked down. Surprisingly enough, I know you gentlemen are going to think I'm crazy, especially coming from an Eagles fan, but I have them beating the Redskins and Philadelphia in Philadelphia. I have them then losing to the Texans in Houston. The Seahawk game is the game that I want everybody to watch, December 11th. Now, I have them winning that game because it is in Green Bay, but we've had so many in years past last-second Hail Mary controversial calls between these two teams, and it's December. I really want to see what happens. I have them then losing at the Bears, losing to the Vikings, and then I have them winning the last game at Detroit because I think the third string of the Green Bay Packers can be the Detroit Lions at that stage of the game. So I have them finishing 11-5. Again, have them winning the division. Let's go on to our next team, and let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater, Adrian Peterson, my boy, Mr. Stephon Diggs. I'm really looking forward to the team this year. And Craig, I'll defer to you on this one. What do you have the Minnesota Vikings at?
The Minnesota Vikings, I think, are going to be a pretty respectable team. I love what they did last year. I like the emergence of Stephon Diggs at the wide receiver position. I like their first-round pick in Laquan Treadwell. I think he's going to be a great number 1 receiver, actually, very soon as he can get his route running up to par. I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be improved from last year. I've seen steady improvement from Teddy Bridgewater since he's come into the league, unlike some of the other quarterbacks that got drafted with him. We won't name names like Johnny Manziel. Yeah, so I have them, starting off. I told you I had them beating the Packers in week 2, which is going to be huge for their confidence. But I think that their confidence is only going to last 1 week because I have them losing to the Panthers at Carolina in week 3. It's going to be a really tough game. I have them ripping off about 5-6 wins in a row. I have them losing to the Cardinals, beating the Lions, and then I have them going on a losing streak. So they're going to have an awesome record, but then I have them losing to the Cowboys, losing at Jacksonville, losing to the Colts, and losing at the Packers. So I have them going on a 4-game losing streak, but then winning at Chicago, or actually home to Chicago in the final week to put them at 10-6. I think at 10-6 is going to be a pretty good record to try to either get a 5th or a 6th seed. We haven't broken down actual playoff seedings yet, but I think they're going to be in the conversation for a wild card spot.
All right. I will very simply say a lot of the games that you have touched on, I agree with you. I have a few different, but I have them finishing 9-7, only because I am curious to see, like you said, what Laquan Treadwell is going to be like this year. Listen, I love me some Stephon Diggs. You can ask anybody all last year.
You're digging Stephon Diggs?
I am. I'm digging the digs. So,
nice play on words.
but I also say to you that right now, still, top 2 running backs in the league. I don't care how old he gets.
AP, baby.
AP, all day, every day. So I gotta roll with them and say 9-7. I see them getting in at the number 6 seed for a wild card, and we will definitely give our predictions more. Again, August 20th, the Office Bar, Sarasota, 1989 Ringling Boulevard. Definitely come check us out. We're gonna be doing a live show there, and we will give you our predictions all the way up, riding up into our Super Bowl predictions. You know, here on Whole Nother Level. But yeah, 9-7 is where I got the Vikings. Dwayne, what do you got?
Well, although I think, Bridgewater, AP, obviously, I think these guys will have a good season. Stephon Diggs, obviously, as well. Treadwell, I think, will do well. I think Minnesota's going to be kind of a streaky team. I have them beating the Titans in Tennessee. They're losing to the Packers. Like I said, Packers will beat them. And they'll lose the next 2 games, Panthers and Giants, but will win 4 straight. And then I have them losing 3 straight. In the middle of the season to the Redskins in Washington, losing to the Cardinals, and I know you're going to be like, whoa, wait a minute, but losing to the Lions. I see the Lions taking a couple. Losing to the Lions in Detroit. That's what I see.
I can see that. That usually seems to happen.
Right.
They're
right. It's a divisional game. You got to give the benefit once it comes to a divisional game. You got to give some of these teams the benefit of the doubt. And losing to the Redskins and the Cardinals, I'm all about streaks. So it's the Lions' turn to kind of grab one. That's taking advantage of a team that has lost 2 straight. So I can see that happen. But I see them coming out at 9-7 for the season, even though they're streaky. But they'll be winning in the latter part of the season, and I see them making the playoffs.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
Right in contention, at least.
Yeah. So 9-7, Minnesota Vikings.
I will have to. I have them going 9-7 as well. I think the hire of Mike Zimmer as head coach has done this team quite well. They've turned it around over the past 3 years to make this team to a playoff team. I think this team has a chip on their shoulder because of what happened last year in the playoffs with Seattle. They were a kick away from beating the Seahawks to go to the next round. I think this team is going to have that chip to do it again. Honestly, with AP in the backfield, and I see Teddy Bridgewater just being a superstar this year.
You know what's funny? Nobody at this panel has said that either Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, or Teddy Bridgewater are going to be or fall victim to the sophomore slump. We have all sat here and said they are going to have good second years.
Well, Bridgewater already had a second year, but he had a good one.
Yeah,
So yeah.
All right. So he's actually, I'm sorry, he's 1 year ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
All right.
I see this team going 9-7. I think they will win against the Titans in week 1. They will do 2 games being the Giants. Sorry. And then I have them going on a couple of streaks as well, and then the end they're gonna close it out as 2-1 the Colts and beat the Bears last week.
I want to keep that in my back pocket. I'm
Okay,
gonna keep a mental note of that game. I actually will, and then see how that turns out.
What does it say? What does it say on it?
Week 4.
Does it say that? And then you flip it over, it's like free beer.
Yeah, good part. For like a 6-pack or a case or hey, let's see. Up the ante here.
You just skip the 12-pack.
Yeah, I know.
Case.
I like where this team is headed. They have a new stadium to come into this year. They've got a contract extension with Mike Zimmer.
All right. Well, with that, gentlemen, let's take a real quick break before we get into our last 2 teams, the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
Yes. Give us about 2-3 minutes. Hold on a level. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Whole Nother Level right here on HNL3.com. All right, gentlemen, our last 2 teams. Let's go with the Detroit Lions, since we've been talking a little bit about them here in the NFC North. I got the Detroit Lions at 7-9. I know it sounds crazy. I know. But here's what I will say to you. The second half of the year, the Detroit Lions showed me something. It started with their game against Philadelphia, where they just blew us out the water 45-14. The Detroit Lions, I feel like, can turn it on when they want to. Now, they have lost Calvin Johnson, a huge contributor to that offense. But it's going to give the rest of this team the opportunity to step up or basically be the same old Lions. So I want to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt before I just jump and say, oh, they'll have a 3-13 record. I'm saying they go 7-9. Only for the simple fact is, between them and the Bears, I think they're going to have a race for last place. So, with that, I'll defer to the one and only Craig Cousin. What do you got for Detroit?
Detroit Lions are going to suffer this year because of no Calvin Johnson. I think that team took for granted how much coverage that he really demanded on the defensive end from other teams. I expect a pretty good year from Golden Tate, and I just love the signing of Anquan Bolden, because I think Anquan Bolden still has stuff left in the tank. I saw it over in San Francisco. I saw it in Baltimore before San Francisco. I think that Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback than what they had in San Francisco, so I expect him to have a pretty good year, actually. He'll demand some coverage over there, and for that, I just actually gave them another win, because I had them at 5-11. I have them finishing at 6-10. Like I said, I have them winning the last week of the season in a garbage game against the Packers, because I think the Packers are going to be resting people. But I think that their wins are going to be few and far between. I got them beating the Titans, the Eagles, actually. Eric.
That's a get-back game right there. Let me tell you right now. Mark it on your calendar.
The
October
Redskins.
9th.
I actually have them beating the Vikings, and I have them beating the Bears. So, other than that, I think that it's going to kind of be another disappointing season for, the Detroit Lion fans. I really don't see much to like about this team right now. Matthew Stafford's been pretty decent, but for whatever reason, they haven't been able to get over the hump when people thought they'd be able to get over the hump. And I think this is an even more down year for them than the last 3 years. So I have them finishing with a lower record than the last 3 years, at 6-10.
Wow. Dwayne, what do you got?
Well, other than Golden Tate, I mean, who does Stafford have to throw to? Megatron's gone.
Well, he just got Anquan Bolden.
Okay, who is about 80 years old.
Is that his number, too?
yeah, but I mean, that's my point.
Eric Ebron?
Oh yeah, that's right. Tight end.
He's all right.
Yeah, tight end. Yeah, I mean he's a pretty big target from what I remember. But I mean, obviously we're saying that. I mean, I'm saying that Detroit Lions. It's going to be a tough year for them. I have them at 6 wins.
So you're right on board with me.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, beating the Titans. I had them beating the Bears in Chicago. Obviously, they'll take one from the Vikings, like I said before, and at the back end of the season, they'll get a cheap win from the Packers. Totally agree with Craig on that one. I have to piggyback on that. But Detroit Lions, I don't see them going anywhere this season. I'm sorry. 6 wins. Yeah.
All right.
I'm not as generous as
You're not. You're really not.
I'm like Scrooge McDuck.
Wow.
I have them going, and I'm actually really being generous. I'm really being generous. I have them going 5.
Generosity.
And that's a little bit of generous.
Okay.
I always try to root for Detroit because they seem to be like that ugly girl from prom that tries to be a prom queen, but then never gets enough votes, but then you kind of feel sorry for her. It's sad because Matthew Stafford's a good quarterback. He's a decent, good quarterback, but without Calvin Johnson, he's got really nothing.
Well, he has Calvin Jones. Exactly. Without Calvin Johnson, you got Calvin Jones.
Yeah.
But I mean, he does. I mean, I like Golden Tate, but he does. I mean, Anquan Bolden is like 50 years old, as we were talking about before.
First he was 80, now he's 50.
Yeah, no, I mean, he just goes up and down. Yeah.
So
the point is he's old. That's the point.
But one of the main concerns is they didn't really upgrade it.
But Stafford had his issues last year, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Stafford did have his issues last year, though. It seemed like the latter half of the season, almost like, and correct me if I'm wrong, almost like he gave up a little bit because he was throwing. I mean, there's times where he's throwing these picks and throwing.
They did get Marvin Jones,
passes.
right, from Cincinnati.
They did get Marvin Jones.
See, and he was one of the I just remembered that. Thanks for bringing that up. So they do have Marvin Jones, Anquan Bolden, Golden Tate, and Amir Abdullah will be in his second season at running back.
He's got an average, mediocre receiving core.
But just looking at that now, I think one of their biggest problems is probably just going to be on defense, because I think that their defense has always stayed in that realm of mediocrity. And I think in this league, in this day and age where, obviously it's a pass-happy league, and you have the Aaron Rodgers and the Russell Wilsons and the Cam Newtons of the world that like to sling it down the field, that's where I think that they struggle. So I think that maybe that offense is good enough to score 24 points a game, but I see them giving up 27 points a game, and that's where the issue is.
I have them beating the Bears both times this year. I have them beating the Rams. I have them beating the Saints, of course, and then I have them beating the Cowboys.
Read them again, because I thought that was 6. I thought I counted 6 there. You said Bears twice. Okay, Bears twice.
Saints, Bears. The Bears twice. Saints, Bears. Saints, Cowboys.
Saints, Cowboys. Okay, all right. Yep.
5.
5. Okay, well, 5 and 11. You're right. You're not as generous.
I'm not as generous.
Listen,
It's just,
I'll take one.
feel bad.
I'll take one for the team and say, based on what Craig just said to me, I say they go 500. I'll give them one more game.
Wow, I talked you into it.
You did.
Wow, there you go.
Let me think about this for a second. You know what?
Like I said, I root for them because they have a good quarterback. They have some good things in place. It just execution-wise, it's like throw up.
They're a team that if they go 10-6, I'm not surprised, because I think that they have talent on offense.
And they've done that before.
But the defense
They've
just
done
doesn't excite me at all.
Here's what I will
A
say.
couple of years ago, they were 10-6. So they've done that before, and then the next year, it's just what happened last year.
You gentlemen gave them a gimme game, and I said no. I said the Packers' third string would be able to beat the Detroit Lions. I'll change that loss to a win January 1st, 2017, and say the Detroit Lions, even though they're not going to go anywhere, they'll at least start the year off right and I'll give them that win, putting them at 8-8 instead of 7-9. So, all right, last team, gentlemen. The Bears.
That's about right. I have them finishing last in the division. Talk about generosity. I got 0 for this team.
Chicago. I know you do. I know you do. So you know what? Get it off your chest, bro.
Yeah,
Chicago Bears.
I don't see much hope for this team, because I think that Adam Gase had brought Jay Cutler what they needed, and the fact that he's not over there anymore, I think Jay Cutler is going to regress again, because I don't think Jay Cutler he showed his potential at times, but you know what we get from Jay Cutler. You got the gunslinger. He's going to make some plays, and then he's just going to sit on the sideline, kind of unemotional at times as well. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Kevin White. He missed his whole rookie year last year. From West Virginia. I think he should be back. So hopefully that upgrades the wide receiver position alongside Alshon Jeffries. They lost Matt Forte, which I think was their biggest asset on offense. We'll see what Langford does. He came in spots last year and played decent. But I have them finishing 4-12 actually. And again, I think I got everybody beating the Eagles. I got them beating I don't even know. I just put it in there. I got to win here. I got them beating the Eagles. I got them, splitting with the Lions. I got them beating the Titans and the 49ers. So they do get a win streak, a 2-game win streak, but they will finish 4-12 on the season. I don't see them really doing well, and I think that they'll be in the discussion for the first overall pick in the 2017 NFL draft.
All right, Wayne.
Greg, I'm actually going with you.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
4-12 as well.
Wow.
Yes, and I think this all rides on Jay Cutler. We don't know who we're going to get this year, because after that Case left to go to Miami, that was his boy. That's what actually made it, Cutler show a little bit of promise last year. Greg, I'm going to agree with you too. I like Kevin White coming back. He's going to be healthy. I'm excited to see him play, because he was such a dynamic wide receiver in college, and now he's on a team with a gunslinger of a quarterback. I'm excited to see what happens there, but it just relies on the shoulders of Jay Cutler and what he's going to do this year. And I see him just regressing once again. He's got his money, but he's going to regress once again. Not Bears, but the last one.
Wow. Wayne.
Cutler, boy, Gase gone, Forte gone, Chicago Bears season gone.
Before it starts.
Yeah,
Okay.
5-11, and it's
Being
funny.
generous.
Yeah,
Being
exactly.
generous
Yeah,
with this
exactly.
team.
Well, because I'm piggybacking on Craig yet again. Don't like to piggyback on folks, but I see them beating the Eagles. That's their first win of the season. I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to rain on your parade, Eric. I mean, I just don't.
Eric, I have them losing to the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the Eagles doing a whole heck of a lot this season because there's a lot of question marks. I mean, obviously, you're optimistic. There's a lot of question marks for that team, but obviously, Chicago. There's a lot of question marks for Chicago as well. But I have them beating the Eagles. The Titans later on in the season, the 49ers. It's not. It's just a matter of Cutler. I just don't have a lot of faith in. I haven't had a lot of faith in Cutler for the last 3 or 4 years, to be honest with you. 5-11 season. Again, piggybacking on Craig, I see them. They probably will be one of the teams looking for a high draft pick.
So,
You're looking for a quarterback.
ladies and gentlemen, a whole nother level. I want you to personally hear what I'm about to say. To the one and only Greg Cousin and your wonderful, charming girlfriend, Cameron Lopez. Dwayne Lindo, the sports expert that he is, who I love dearly like a brother from another mother. And the great L. Bushman. And the reason why he is great is because of his girlfriend, Paige. I would like to invite all of you to my house on September 19th.
I'm bringing the wings. I'm bringing the wings.
E-Dubs, a.k.a. Eric Wilson,
Night game.
will cook.
Nice.
Try to make that happen.
I will cook for all of you.
Okay.
It will be a joyous occasion
Mark this on the calendar.
Preach.
until
Calendar invites for
8:30 after the singing of our national anthem and the game starts. I have a leather couch. I'm going to put the 3 of you gentlemen on that couch. And I just want y'all to sit there.
Remember, I said the Eagles would beat the Bears.
I understand that.
I still have to sit on the couch?
Yes.
All right, then they're going to lose.
That's fine.
Couch is better than the floor.
So, September 19th, Sunday night game. Second Sunday night game of the NFL season. I'm opening my house up, as I always do to you gentlemen. Oh, even better. Even better. Monday night, football. You guys are invited still.
At the Wilson residence.
At the Wilson residence, I will cook for y'all. I will even make my infamous Philly cheesesteaks for y'all that night. Because when Philadelphia, I'm talking so loud I'm gonna crack the microphone. Hold on, let me back up for a minute. When Philadelphia destroys,
Yeah, nobody heard you. But like they're not going to hear the Eagles week 2.
when Philadelphia destroys the Chicago Bears week 2, I just want y'all to remember this moment and say, I was the man as the gracious host who said, y'all can come into my house and say whatever you want. But when the smoke clears and the dust settles, please understand, we gonna whoop Chicago in Chicago. Okay? Now, Dwayne, I will piggyback off you. I have them going 5-11. I originally had them at 7-9, but you gentlemen have given me cause to look back over the season and say to myself, what am I going to get with Jay Cutler? And the answer is quite simple. You just never know. With that being said, I have them going 5-11. I have them losing to the Texans and, of course, losing to my Philadelphia Eagles. They will get their first win in Jerry World, and that's just because I can't stand Dallas. But then I have them losing to the Lions in Detroit. Losing at the Colts. I have them losing to the Jaguars and losing to the Packers. They will split with Minnesota. They will win the first game right before their bye. It'll be trick or treat for the Chicago Bears October 31st. But then they will lose January 1st. I have them winning. Sorry, Evan. I have them beating the Buccaneers in Tampa. But then I also have them beating the Titans and, of course, beating the 49ers because I just don't see anybody. The 49ers are going to get. If the 49ers, and I know I'm piggybacking off of Dwayne from last year, if the 49ers get 5 wins, I'll be impressed. I just don't see it. But I also have Chicago, and I say Chicago gets the number 3 draft pick in the 2017 NFL draft. I have them at 5 wins.
I can see that happening. And you know what? It's not even just a testament to, what they're going to be this season. I just think the entire NFC, when I look at the landscape, I think a lot of teams are going to be improved from last year. And I think that improvement is going to be enough to be above what Chicago is going to bring to the table. So that's why I have this as well.
All right, well, that wraps up the NFL. We have done all 8 divisions over the course of 8 weeks. I will put something together so that we can put this on our website. Again, gentlemen, it is always an honor to sit here and talk to you guys as we do each and every Saturday right here on Whole Nother Level. Just to let our fans know, I'm not sure yet, we have to talk about it, we may take a few weeks off because we really, really, really want to see everybody out at the Office Bar Sarasota, 1989 Ringling Boulevard, for our kickoff to the 2016-2017 NFL season. As the one and only Craig Cousins said, we're going to give you our fantasy picks. Who to start, who to sit, making sure that you dominate your fantasy league. We are going to break down the entire NFL. We're going to be in the middle of preseason, so we are going to give you who we think is going to be successful this year and who is just going to be riding the pine.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions that they want to send to us, any of us, any of our email accounts, Whole Nother Level, whatever it might be as far as fantasy goes, we'll do our best to get those answers to you and answer those on August 20th or even get back to you personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring your friends too. I mean, bring your girlfriends as well. They might want to.
Grandmas.
Yeah, they might want to know a
Grandmas.
few tips about fantasy football.
Dogs.
Listen,
Cats.
I think fantasy football has really become, I hate to say it, it's becoming almost like a 50-50 split between men and women. So
Oh, yeah,
many
that's
girls.
that's the whole
see
point.
a lot more women.
Yeah, yeah. And of course, I'm popping my cherry. I am going to be doing fantasy football this year.
Wearing
so
red today for the popping of the cherry.
I am. I'm doing fantasy football this year for the very first time. I'm actually, you know what? I've been doing a lot of homework, Craig. I'm actually.
I hope so, because very first time I'm predicting about a Chicago Bears 4-12 for me this year.
You know, he passes me notes of
I do actually. I get on him sometimes. Like I said. But then we have this girl who we work with, and she apparently is. When we start talking about fantasy football, her ears perked up, and I was like, maybe I should talk to her about it. She seemed to be a little more knowledgeable than Evan. Evan's like,
Who?
really? You know.
Well, you're watching mine.
Wisdom.
No.
Okay.
She goes based on colors.
All right, so with that, for the sports expert that is Dwayne Lindo, the great Al Bushman, and the one, the only Craig Cousin, this is E-Dub, Eric Wilson in the building. Until next week, and we will keep you updated as the time goes on, we have taken you to a whole nother level. We'll see you next time.
Gee, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Autobots, transform and roll out.